Hey everyone, Elizabeth here. The Last Laugh delivers stories that leave you speechless. If you're here for it, hit subscribe and let's go.
The cream-colored envelope arrived on a Tuesday. Heavy cardstock. My sister Victoria's gallery logo embossed in gold. I knew what it was before I opened it. Inside, the invitation was printed in elegant script. Victoria Reeves Gallery presents Emergence, a solo exhibition. September 15th, 7 to 10 p.m. Cocktail attire required. Then at the bottom in smaller type, curated guest list. Space is limited to serious collectors and patrons of the arts. My phone buzzed 30 seconds later. Mom's text, Victoria's opening is for sophisticated guests only. Her patrons are collectors from Europe. You understand why this might not be your scene. I set the phone down and stared at the invitation. Victoria had been planning this for 18 months. Her first major solo show. The gallery she'd opened with Dad's money 3 years ago was finally getting attention. She'd curated emerging artists, hosted wine and cheese events, sold enough pieces to break even. This was supposed to be her breakthrough moment. And I wasn't invited. Not really. I texted back, understood. Congratulations to Victoria. Mom replied immediately, it's not personal, Elena. She's worked so hard for this. We just don't want anything to distract from her night. Distract. That was the word they always used. I was the distraction. The embarrassment. The sister who didn't fit. It started when I was 19 and dropped out of the Rhode Island School of Design halfway through my sophomore year. Victoria was finishing her MFA at Yale. She was everything I wasn't: polished, articulate, connected. She understood how to navigate gallery openings and donor dinners. She knew which wine paired with which cheese. I came home from RSD with paint under my nails and an idea I couldn't shake. You're throwing away your future, Dad said when I told him I was leaving. Art school isn't for everyone, Mom added gently. Maybe you could work retail for a while. Find yourself. Victoria didn't say anything. She just looked at me with something close to pity. I moved into a studio apartment in Providence with 2 roommates and started working. Not retail. I painted. Obsessively. 18-hour days. I lived on ramen and coffee and burned through canvas after canvas, chasing something I couldn't articulate. When my paintings started selling at a small gallery in Boston, I didn't tell anyone. When a private collector bought 3 pieces for $15,000 each, I kept quiet. When Sotheby's contacted me about representing my work, I used a pseudonym. Reeves became someone else. Someone my family didn't know. Someone who didn't need their approval. Over the next 8 years, Reeves built a reputation. My paintings sold at auctions in London, Hong Kong, New York. I worked with private collectors who valued discretion. Museums acquired pieces for their permanent collections. My work appeared in Art Basel, Frieze, the Venice Biennale. And my family had no idea. To them, I was still Elena. The dropout, the girl who tried art and gave up, the one working some vague administrative job that I never talked about. I let them believe it. It was easier than explaining. Easier than watching Victoria's face when she realized her little sister had succeeded where she was still struggling. Because Victoria's gallery was legitimate, but it wasn't profitable. Dad had invested $400,000 as seed money. She'd sold pieces, yes, but barely enough to cover rent and overhead. She represented talented artists, but none of them had broken through. Her shows got respectful reviews in regional publications but nothing major. Meanwhile, Reeves was selling paintings for $380,000 each. Kept my 2 lives separate. When I attended openings or auctions, I used connections in New York and LA. I never worked with galleries in Connecticut where my family lived. I avoided events where Victoria might appear. My anonymity was strategic. Proactive. I wasn't hiding because I was ashamed. I was hiding because I knew what would happen if they found out. They'd make it about them. The week before Victoria's opening, the family group chat exploded with updates. Victoria, confirmed. Art News is sending a photographer. Mom, so proud of you, sweetheart. This is your moment. Dad, my daughter, the gallery owner. Can't wait to see you shine. Victoria, the Chens are flying in from Hong Kong. The Beaumonts from Paris. This is actually happening. I muted the chat and went back to work. My studio in Brooklyn was the one place I felt completely myself. 2,200 square feet, north-facing windows, Concrete floors stained with years of paint. My current series was nearly complete. 12 large-scale pieces exploring memory and displacement. Christie's had already scheduled them for their November contemporary art auction. Pre-sale estimates ranged from $420,000 to $1.2 million per piece. My phone buzzed. A text from Victoria separate from the group chat. I know Mom sent you that text. I'm sorry. It's just, this night is really important to me. I hope you understand. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed, I understand completely. Good luck with the show. She replied with a heart emoji. The day of the opening, I worked in my studio until 4 p.m. My hands were covered in cadmium red when my phone rang. Unknown number. Ms. Reeves? This is James Whitmore from Christie's. I wanted to confirm your attendance at the preview event next month. I'll be there. Excellent. We're expecting significant interest in your collection. The pre-sale buzz is extraordinary. I wouldn't be surprised if we exceed projections. After we hung up, I washed my hands and stared at my reflection in the studio's industrial sink. Paint-stained jeans. Oversized sweater. Hair pulled back in a messy knot. Your aesthetic may not align with the evening's tone. I pulled out my phone and looked at Victoria's invitation again. Her gallery was in Westport, Connecticut. 40 minutes from my parents' house. An hour and a half from my studio. I could show up. Prove them wrong. Watch their faces when they realized who I was. But that would make it about me. And tonight was supposed to be about Victoria. I set my phone down and went back to painting. At 7:30 p.m. my phone started buzzing. Mom had posted photos to Facebook. Victoria in a black cocktail dress, holding a champagne flute. Dad in a suit, arm around her shoulders. The gallery filled with well-dressed people examining paintings. The caption, so proud of our daughter Victoria. Her first major solo exhibition. She's worked so hard for this moment. #ProudMom, #ArtWorld, #Victoria Reeves Gallery. I scrolled through the comments. Friends congratulating her. Former teachers. Distant relatives. Then a text from my Aunt Diane. Are you there? I don't see you in any photos. I replied, couldn't make it. Work commitment. She sent back, that's a shame. Family should support family. I didn't respond. At 8:47 p.m., everything changed. My phone rang. Victoria. Elena? Where are you? Her voice had an edge I couldn't identify. Not angry. Something else. Home. In Brooklyn. Why? There's a man here. From Christie's. He's asking for you. My stomach dropped. What? He said his name is James Whitmore. He's asking for Elena Reeves. He says you're consigning a collection with them next month. Elena, what is he talking about? I closed my eyes. Victoria. He said $47 million. He said that number. Elena, what the hell is going on? In the background I heard voices. Mom asking who Victoria was talking to. Dad demanding to know what was happening. I can explain, I said. Then explain. Right now. Because this man is standing in MY Gallery at MY opening, asking for MY sister, talking about numbers that don't make any sense. I heard the phone muffle. Victoria saying something to someone. Then Mom's voice, sharp and confused. Let me talk to her. Elena Marie Reeves. Mom's formal voice. The one she used when she was truly upset. There is a gentleman here from Christie's auction house. He says he needs to speak with you about a $47 million collection you're consigning. He seems to think you're some kind of artist. Would you like to explain what's happening? I am an artist, Mom. Silence. I've been a professional artist for 8 years. I use the name E. Reeves. I've sold work through Sotheby's, Christie's and private galleries in New York, London and Hong Kong. The collection he's referring to is my current series. 12 paintings. The pre-sale estimate is $47 million. More silence. Then, this is a joke. It's not a joke. Elena, this is not funny. Victoria's opening is being ruined by... Mom, I'm telling you the truth. Put James Whitmore on the phone. I heard muffled conversation. Confusion. Then a male voice, smooth and professional. Ms. Reeves. James Whitmore. I apologize for the confusion. I was told you might be attending your sister's event, and I wanted to personally confirm some details about the November auction. I didn't realize. It's fine, James. I wasn't planning to attend tonight. My family doesn't know about my work. Oh. Pause. I see. Should I leave? No. Actually, give the phone back to my mother. I heard him say, she'd like to speak with you again. Mom's voice. Elena, I don't understand. I know. But everything he's saying is true. I'll come to the gallery. I'll explain everything. Give me 90 minutes. Your father wants to talk to you. 90 minutes, Mom. I hung up. I changed into black pants and a silk blouse. Fixed my hair. Applied minimal makeup. Grabbed my leather portfolio, the one I never showed anyone, and called a car service. The drive to Westport took 73 minutes. I spent the entire time thinking about what I was going to say. How I would explain 8 years of secrecy. How I would make them understand that it wasn't about hurting them. It was about protecting myself. About building something that belonged only to me. When the car pulled up to Victoria's gallery, I could see through the floor-to-ceiling windows. The crowd had thinned slightly, but at least 40 people remained. I spotted my parents immediately. Dad's face was red. Mom looked pale. Victoria stood with her arms crossed, talking to a distinguished-looking man in his 60s. James Whitmore, presumably. I paid the driver and stepped onto the sidewalk. Through the window, someone pointed at me. Victoria's head snapped around. Our eyes met. I walked in. The gallery went quiet. Not completely. A few people were still talking near the bar, but our section fell silent. Victoria stared at me. Mom's hand went to her throat. Dad's jaw tightened. James Whitmore broke the silence. He crossed the gallery with his hand extended, a warm smile on his face. Ms. Reeves. Thank you for coming. I apologize again for the confusion. I shook his hand. It's fine, James. He lowered his voice. Your family seems surprised. That's an understatement. Victoria found her voice. Elena. What is happening? I turned to face them. Mom, Dad, Victoria. Behind them, several gallery guests had stopped pretending not to listen. I'm E. Reeves, I said simply. The artist. I've been working professionally since I left RSD. I use a pseudonym for privacy. Dad's face went from red to purple. You've been lying to us for 8 years? I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you. That's the same thing. No, Dad. It's not. You assumed I was working some administrative job because that's what made sense to you. I let you assume it. Mom stepped forward. Elena, this man said $47 million. That can't possibly be. It is. I pulled out my phone, opened my email and held it up. The thread with Christie's. Contracts. Pre-sale estimates. Images of my paintings. This is my current series. 12 pieces. Christie's is auctioning them in November. Conservative pre-sale estimate is $47 million. Could go higher depending on the market. Victoria made a sound like she'd been punched. That's not possible. It is possible. It's reality. You're E. Reeves? The E. Reeves. I nodded. She turned to James Whitmore. Is this true? He smiled gently. Your sister is one of the most significant contemporary artists working today. Her work has sold at every major auction house. Museums have acquired her pieces. She's been featured in Art Basel, Frieze, the Venice Biennale. She's extraordinarily talented. Victoria's face went through several emotions at once. Confusion. And then, unmistakably, anger. Why didn't you tell me? Her voice cracked. I'm trying to build a gallery. I'm trying to make it in this world. And you've been, what? Watching me struggle. Letting me fail. You're not failing, Victoria. I'm barely breaking even. I've sold maybe $200,000 worth of art in 3 years. You sell one painting for more than that. Your gallery is legitimate. You represent good artists. You're building something real. With Dad's money. While you're secretly some art world superstar. The gallery had gone completely silent now. Everyone was watching. Dad stepped between us. This is inappropriate. This is Victoria's night. We're not doing this here. No, Victoria said sharply. We are doing this here. Because this is MY Gallery and MY opening, and apparently MY's sister has been living a completely different life that she thought I was too stupid to know about. I never thought you were stupid. Then why hide it? Tears streamed down her face. Why let me think I was the successful one? Why let me believe I was building something when you'd already built an empire? Because this is exactly what I knew would happen. My voice rose. This. Right here. Making it about you. Making my success somehow an insult to you. Mom gasped. Elena Marie. No, Mom. I'm done being quiet. I kept my work private because I knew the moment you found out, it would become about how it affected you. Not about the art. Not about what I built. About how it made Victoria feel. About how it embarrassed Dad that I dropped out. About how Mom could finally brag that one of her daughters actually made something of herself. That's not fair, Mom whispered. Isn't it? You literally uninvited me from tonight because my aesthetic might not align. You told me I'd be a distraction. You've spent 8 years treating me like the family embarrassment, and now you're upset that I didn't share my success with you. Victoria was crying openly now. Several gallery guests had started to leave, uncomfortable with the family drama unfolding in front of them. James Whitmore cleared his throat gently. Perhaps this conversation should continue somewhere more private? Dad rounded on him. This is your fault. Showing up here making pronouncements. Dad, stop. I stepped forward. James was doing his job. I'm the one who kept this secret. I made that choice. And I'd make it again. Victoria's voice was barely a whisper. You really hate us that much? I don't hate you. I love you. But I also know you. And I knew that if I told you, you'd either dismiss it as a phase. Or you'd find a way to make it about yourselves, or worst of all, you'd try to help. Try to manage my career. Try to fix what I was building. I couldn't let that happen. So instead you just disappeared? Became someone else. I became myself. For the first time in my life, I became exactly who I was meant to be. Without your expectations. Without Dad's disappointment. Without Mom's gentle suggestions about what I should wear to make the right impression. The words hung in the air. Mom's face crumpled. Is that really how you see us? I softened slightly. I see you as people who love me but don't understand me. And that's okay. But it meant I had to build my life away from you. The gallery owner, Victoria's business partner, Marcus, approached cautiously. Victoria? The Chens are preparing to leave. They wanted to say goodbye. Victoria wiped her face, smearing mascara. Tell them I'll be right there. Marcus hesitated, looking between us, then retreated. Dad's anger had deflated into something heavier. You really think we would have tried to control you? I think you would have tried to help. And your help would have come with strings. Expectations. Advice I didn't ask for. We're your parents. I know. And I needed to do this without you. Victoria took a shaky breath. The Chens. They're serious collectors. They were interested in 2 pieces. If they leave without buying, then go talk to them, I said. This is your opening. Your night. Don't let this ruin it. Too late. She laughed bitterly. The night's already ruined. It doesn't have to be. James Whitmore, who'd been standing quietly nearby, spoke up. If I may. Victoria, your gallery represents some genuinely talented artists. I noticed the Sophia Chin piece in the back. Her work is remarkable. Have you considered submitting her for our emerging artists auction next spring? Victoria blinked. What? Christie's runs an emerging artists auction every year. It's a significant opportunity. I think several of your artists would be strong candidates. He pulled a card from his pocket. Call me next week. Let's discuss it. Victoria took the card like it might disappear. You're serious? Completely. Your eye for talent is excellent. You just need better connections to collectors and auction houses. I can help with that. He turned to me. Ms. Reeves, should we reschedule our conversation? That would be best. Thank you, James. He nodded to my parents, to Victoria, and departed. The gallery felt enormous suddenly. Just the 4 of us and a handful of remaining guests who were very obviously eavesdropping. Mom spoke first, her voice small. $47 million. That's the estimate. Could be higher. Could be lower. The market determines the price. And you did this all yourself? No help. I had help. Galleries. Collectors. Mentors. But yes, I built my career myself. Dad sat heavily on one of the gallery benches. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. I'm sorry. Victoria's voice was rough. I'm sorry I didn't make room for you tonight. I was so wrapped up in my own thing that I understand. This is your gallery. Your work. I wasn't trying to overshadow you. But you did. Just by existing. She laughed shakily. The whole time I've been working so hard to be the artistic one, the successful one. You were already there. Miles ahead of me. We're not in competition, Victoria. Aren't we? That's how it's always felt. You, me. Mom and Dad comparing us. Measuring us against each other. I looked at my parents. Is that true? Mom's eyes filled with tears. We were proud of Victoria. She was doing what we understood. Graduate degrees. A business plan. Structure. You just vanished. We didn't know what to do with that. So you wrote me off. We worried about you, Dad said. Every day. We worried you were struggling. That you were too proud to ask for help. I wasn't struggling. I was thriving. How were we supposed to know that? The question hit harder than I expected. Because he was right in a way. I'd been so focused on protecting my work, protecting myself, that I'd never considered what my silence cost them. The worry. The confusion. But I also knew that if I'd told them, they would have found a way to insert themselves. To help. To fix. To manage. Some things you have to do alone. Victoria excused herself to talk to the remaining guests. Mom and Dad sat on the bench looking older than I'd ever seen them. Can we see your work? Mom asked finally. Your real work. It's in New York. In my studio. Would you show us sometime? I thought about it. My studio. My sanctuary. The place where I was entirely myself. And then I thought about Victoria's face when James Whitmore offered to help her. The mixture of hope and disbelief. Yes, I said. I'll show you. Dad rubbed his face. I don't know how to process this. My daughter is a famous artist. I'm not famous. I'm private. There's a difference. $47 million is not private. The number isn't what matters. The work matters. Mom stood and crossed to one of Victoria's featured pieces. A mixed media work by an artist named Sophia Chin. It was good. Really good. Layers of texture, unexpected color choices, emotional depth. This is beautiful, she said. Victoria has a good eye, I agreed. She gets that from somewhere. Mom turned to look at me. I wish I'd seen it in you. The real you. Not the version I wanted you to be. My throat tightened. Mom. No, let me say this. I was so proud of Victoria because I understood her path. Gallery shows. Degrees. Business plans. Made sense to me. But you scared me. You left school. You disappeared into that studio. I didn't know how to support something I couldn't understand. So I stopped trying. And I'm sorry. The tears came before I could stop them. I didn't mean to hurt you. I know. But you did. And we hurt you too. By not seeing you. By not asking the right questions. Dad joined us. Can we start over? Or at least, start from here. I don't know what that looks like. Neither do we. But I'd like to try. Victoria returned, her face blotchy but composed. The Chens bought both pieces. 22,000 total. They also took cards for 2 other artists. That's wonderful, I said. Marcus is handling the paperwork. She looked at me. Can we talk? Just us. Mom and Dad took the hint and moved toward the gallery entrance. Victoria and I stood in the middle of her gallery, surrounded by other people's art. I'm sorry, she said again. For not making space for you. For the invitation. For all of it. I'm sorry too. For keeping secrets. For not trusting you. Can I ask you something? She twisted her hands together. Why E. Reeves? Why not your full name? Because I needed to be someone separate from this family. Someone who existed entirely on her own terms. And did it work? Are you happy? I thought about my studio. My paintings. The life I'd built in careful, deliberate silence. Yes, I'm happy. But I'm also lonely sometimes. And I wonder what it would have been like if I'd trusted you all from the beginning. Would you have trusted us? Honestly, I don't know. You were so confident. So sure of your path. I didn't know how to tell you I was finding a different one. I wasn't as confident as I looked. I'm still not. This gallery is barely surviving, Elena. Dad's money is almost gone. If tonight hadn't worked. She trailed off. But it did work. The Chens bought pieces. James gave you his card. That's a real opportunity. Because of you. He wouldn't have noticed me if you weren't here. That's not true. He noticed Sophia Chen's work before he knew who I was. He noticed your curation. Your eye. That's all you, Victoria. She smiled sadly. I wanted to be like you. When we were kids. You were so fearless. You just create. You didn't care what anyone thought. And I was always worried about doing it right. Getting approval. Making the perfect choice. You still made something real. This gallery exists because of you. With Dad's money. So what? Most galleries start with investor money. Most artists need patrons. There's no shame in that. You didn't need anyone. That's not true. I've had gallery representation. Collectors who took chances on me. Mentors who opened doors. I just didn't take family money. That was my choice. But it doesn't make your path less valid. Victoria looked around her gallery. At the remaining guests. At the art on the walls. I think I've been competing with a ghost, she said quietly. The version of you I invented in my head. The one who was struggling. Failing. It made me feel better about my own struggles. And now I find out you weren't struggling at all. You were succeeding beyond anything I've done. And I don't know how to feel about that. Feel whatever you need to feel. Be angry. Be hurt. I understand. The thing is, I'm also proud of you. Underneath all the other feelings. I'm proud that my sister is E. Reeves. Even if it makes me feel small. You're not small, Victoria. You built this. Tonight mattered. Don't let my revelation take that away from you. We stood in silence for a moment. Then Victoria laughed, sharp and disbelieving. This is insane. This whole night is insane. Yeah. Are you going to tell people that you're E. Reeves? Not publicly. I like my privacy. But family, yes. No more secrets. Will you come to dinner? Sunday. At Mom and Dad's. I hesitated. Sunday dinners were always fraught. Always performed. Always about maintaining the right image. But maybe that could change. Yes, I said. I'll come. And maybe you could bring some photos? Of your work. I'd like to see it. Really see it. I'd like that. Marcus appeared again. Victoria? I hate to interrupt, but we should start closing up. Right. Yes. He turned to me. Thank you for coming. Even though it was a disaster. It wasn't a disaster. It was honest. He hugged me. Quick and fierce. I'm glad you're my sister. Even when I hate you a little. I'm glad you're mine too. I left the gallery at 10:47 p.m. Mom and Dad were waiting outside. Can we give you a ride? Dad asked. Back to the city? I called a car. But thank you. Elena. Mom stepped closer. Sunday dinner. Please don't disappear again. I won't. I'll be there. The car arrived. Before I got in, Dad said, I'm proud of you. I should have said that first. Before anything else. I'm proud of you. I nodded, not trusting my voice. As the car pulled away, I looked back at the gallery. Through the windows, I could see Victoria and Marcus taking down pieces, turning off lights, closing down for the night. Her opening. Her work. Her moment. And maybe finally there was room for both of us. Sunday dinner was awkward. We sat around the table and no one knew quite what to say. Mom had made pot roast. Dad poured wine. Victoria brought dessert. I brought my portfolio. After dinner, I spread photographs across the table. My paintings. 8 years of work. Abstract pieces exploring memory, identity, displacement. Colors that didn't exist in nature. Textures that demanded to be touched. Mom cried. Dad stared in silence. Victoria asked questions about technique, about inspiration, about the collectors who bought the pieces. This one, Mom said, pointing to a painting from 2019. Blues and grays, fractured light, a sense of searching. What's it called? Unmapped territory. It's how I felt, I said. Leaving RSD. Starting over. Not knowing if I'd succeed or fail. Just knowing I had to try. It's beautiful, she whispered. Dad cleared his throat. The auction. In November. Can we come? I looked at him. At all of them. Yes. You can come. The Christie's auction was on November 18th. My family sat in the third row. Victoria wore a black dress. Mom clutched Dad's hand. I sat near the back, anonymous in the crowd, watching my work sell for numbers that still didn't feel real. The 12 paintings sold for a combined $52.3 million. When it was over, Victoria found me in the crowd. Her eyes were wide. "Holy shit," she breathed. "Yeah. You're really E. Reeves." "I'm really Elena Reeves." It was just the part one could control. She linked her arm through mine. "Come on. Mom wants a photo with you. For Facebook." I laughed. Of course she does. She's telling everyone. All her friends. My daughter the artist. Both your daughters are artists. "Yeah," Victoria said, squeezing my arm. "We are." We found our parents near the exit. Mom was already on her phone, typing furiously. "Elena, come here. I'm posting about tonight." I thought about privacy. About anonymity. About the walls I'd carefully built. And then I thought about Sunday dinners. About Victoria's gallery. About starting over from here. "Okay, Mom," I said. "Take your photo." She beamed. I stood between my parents, Victoria on the other side, and smiled for the camera. For the first time in 8 years, I let them see me. All of me. And it felt like coming home.